Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Good Time Gal. I'm your host, Caitlin Peluffo. Thank you for tuning in. Today on the podcast, we have Sarah Tollemache. What a sweet baby angel. She's pregnant as heck. And it's so funny. We don't just talk about pregnancy. We open up with before pregnancy. Just a lot of beach talk, a lot of drinking talk, a lot of fun. We had a nice time. Follow her at S Tollemache on Instagram. Follow her on YouTube at Sarah T Comedy. Okay, so do that. She also has Lady Journey, which is a great podcast. Check it out. And follow me at Caitlin Peluffo on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever you want. Threads, if you're a threadhead. Come check me out live. I'm going to be on tour all summer. So many dates. Go to my Instagram. On my link tree, it has links to all of my dates, including Knoxville, Tennessee, Louisville, other places that I can't remember. So do that. Thank you so much. Follow the pod at Good Time Gal Pod, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye. I love you. Sarah Tollemache, hi.
Hi, thanks
Welcome
for having me
to the podcast again.
Yes. It was a while ago.
It was a long time ago. Pandemic.
Yeah, right?
Pre-pandemic.
Was it pre-pandemic?
No.
I think it was.
Was it?
I can't recall.
I think.
Well, pandemic now feels like forever ago, but then it's not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's only like 2 years, and we're like, back when the pandemic was happening.
Yeah.
Like literally less than 23 months ago.
Yeah.
We were stuck inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was over Zoom. I know that.
Okay. Then maybe this is my third time to at least podcast with you.
With me.
Yeah.
When was the other time?
Soccer. We talked about soccer on
Oh,
one.
yes, we did. Yes, Beasts.
Yeah.
Which is still up. So if you want to go blackmail me and find some old stuff I said
yeah.
that I probably regret, go ahead and watch those. They're on YouTube for free.
Yeah. You have to sift through hours.
Yeah. Back before people were getting canceled from podcasts. So
No. Sometimes I'm like, who has the time to go cancel people?
I mean, if people are canceling people based on podcasts, you have too much time on your hands. You need to get a hobby and do something productive with your life.
Yeah, read a book.
Read a book,
Yeah.
read anything. Honestly, just
Learn a skill.
you could, by the time you could learn a new language.
Yeah.
By the time you finish listening to all of my bad podcasts.
Well, I always like that with Shane Gillis, where he's like, I thought they were going to have to sift through hours. And then he was like, that was like in the first 30 seconds.
I'll never forget that. The first week we reopened at the Cellar, I just met Shane.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I was going to do this podcast. I don't know if it's funny. He looked at me and he goes, don't do the podcast. I was like, oh, he's like, any podcast, just don't do it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But look how great he's doing.
I know, he's thriving.
So it worked out.
Yeah.
When in doubt,
Yeah.
throw a slur and go in.
Take yourself on a theater tour. I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, the last time we were on, we talked about your drinking days, your old
my drinking days. Yeah.
days. Yeah, you had maybe still one of the funniest stories I've ever heard.
Which one? Well, prom dress.
The prom dress strip
The
club.
strip club, yeah. That's always where a lot of it's not because I was partying too hard. It was just the lifestyle that where I went to. You know, it wasn't like, oh, we had a crazy night. And then I think I had one of the craziest one was Mexico. Did I ever tell you when
What
I was
happened?
like, I met a friend. My friend and I were driving cross country to go pick up my stuff in LA
Mm-hmm.
because I just moved back to Texas again. And then when we were driving, I was like, my other friend just moved to Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
And so we met up with her and we were like, let's just go to the border town. I think it's Nogales.
Okay.
And it's half of it's in Mexico and half of it's in Arizona. And we were like, let's just catch a few drinks. And it's always the night that you say, we're just going to have a few drinks and then we'll just head home.
Yeah.
It was a full ordeal and a 24-hour journey. I lost my shoes. We met a guy who took us around Nogales that can't go back into the States for cocaine charges. And then we got kicked out of a Mexican strip club called, I think it was the El Negro Gato, the black cat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's hard to get kicked out of a strip club as a woman.
Yeah. Well, I think we were making fun of the artistry and being obnoxious about it. And they rightfully should have kicked us out. We were in the way of their business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But the strippers are really lovely. But I think it was just one of those things where like, it's time for us to go. We're not wanted.
Yeah.
How
dare you?
But Mexico's actually really fun. Have you ever been?
I've been to Tijuana.
Border towns are insane. There's like always somebody there going to the pharmacy to get like ketamine.
They sell it over the counter?
They sell everything over the counter over there. Like even I watched a documentary. They do surgeries before we ever do. Like they were doing trans surgeries before we were ever doing it.
Oh, really?
I always say Mexico is probably one of the truest forms of a libertarian state or country. You know what I mean? Like it's just like do whatever.
Yeah, but it's like run by the mafia, right? Or the cartels?
Cartels, or it's also like, from what I've gathered, I don't want to say all because I'm just piecing this all together. I'm sure somebody that's like a Mexico historian will. I'm not a scientist. So
I'm not in any way associated to an official capacity to Mexico or its history.
To be a specialist in what I'm about to say. So if you have problems with it, you are in the right.
Yeah, you're correct.
You are correct. From what I gather, a lot of it's corrupt, meaning like police force, you get pulled over, you pay a small fine, you never go to court.
Yeah,
meaning like you should try to be as courteous as possible while you're down there.
Yes. Yeah. Just be a smile. Oh, no say.
Yeah.
Oh, ma'am. Okay, then.
Yeah.
Como se dice? I'm sorry.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. Oopsie.
But I want to go to more places in Mexico.
I went to Tulum, which was very fun.
That's the place I want to go. I want to go to Mexico City. And then there's other places. My sister-in-law's sister, she's married to a guy from Mexico, and they go to the places where all the locals go, and those places sound really fun to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard Mexico City has the best food in the world.
Good art, good markets. I forgot what else. I don't know. Yeah. That's the reason why I want to go to all those places.
Yeah. I'm down. Let's go.
And I can speak a little Spanish. I can get by.
¿Hablas español?
Sí, poquito.
Oh,
yeah.
spicy.
I worked in Texas for years.
Oh, yeah. I forget that you lived in Houston for so long.
I did. And then I took Spanish, and it was one of the few subjects I was good at. And then I worked as like HR in a restaurant. So I was always fighting with the back of the house with their paychecks.
Yeah.
So
mucho dinero.
Yeah, where you're like, no, holiday.
Yeah.
You didn't work on this day. We didn't shortchange you. But the back of the house was always so on top of like hour to hour.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not easy to steal from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
They are on top of every penny that's coming in.
Yeah, I would have no idea if I was paid or not.
No,
I was drunk all the time.
I find most, I've discovered this when I worked here in New York. Stealing from rich people is the easiest.
Really?
They don't pay attention to a lot of them don't pay attention to their money. Like,
it's very overwhelming.
It is. And then also when you're that rich, you make so much money that you actually have to be on top of all investments and the best places to put it, because the interest rates are always changing from account to account.
I mean,
so they're never on top of that.
Switched off. You said that, and I was just like, what am I going to have for dinner?
Yeah.
That's exactly what just happened.
That's why it's so easy to steal from you. Yeah.
Very easy. It makes me so uncomfortable to think and talk about money, like spending money and keeping money.
Yes.
But I'm getting better. I'm going to therapy. Okay.
But there's support groups
really
for people for spending, because it's almost the same, can be the same as like gambling or like alcoholism.
Yeah.
It hits a dopamine rush.
It does. And if I get money, I want to spend it. I'm like, we need a new side table. We need a shoe rack.
I'm like, because you can just feel yourself being influenced. Like I just was on Instagram and I was following Chloe Savini, and she's pushing her some perfume, and I'm like, I gotta get that.
Yeah.
You're like, Sarah, you don't need Chloe Savini's perfume right now. I'm probably saying her name wrong, so you can also correct me on that.
I don't even know who Chloe Savini is.
She's like an indie New York darling. in tons of films. Like her breakthrough role was Kids. She was the blonde, short-haired blonde girl that got HIV from Casper.
Casper the Friendly Ghost?
No, that was a skateboard kid. He had HIV and then wasn't telling girls that he had it. And that was the whole basis of the show. The movie Kids was one of those movies that in my hometown, you had to drive to the outskirts to find this movie to rent because Blockbuster wouldn't carry it.
They were banned books.
Yeah, they were. They were very conservative. Like you couldn't, like, remember video rentals that had a porn section?
Yes. Well, no, I don't remember that because I lived in suburbia and that didn't exist. I didn't know porn was a thing until a man sent me porn. And I realized, I was like, oh, I was just sexually assaulted visually.
Yeah, but that's so crazy. We had a video rental and I grew up in the suburbs and there was a porn section in the back. And the carpet was red.
Ugh.
Like it has to be like, so you know.
Yeah.
And then the curtains were beaded and we would always try to push my younger brother.
He's like, there to pull out movies. Stop. Don't push me. I hate this, guys. And he's just putting it in his shirt.
There. It was, and then once we turned 18, it was enjoyable to go in there and see what we could rent while our family was gone.
I feel like that would be the heyday for porn videos. Just the good titles, the VHS.
The cover art.
I mean, it's like a romance novel, but with faker titties.
Yes. Oh, and actually, it's just interesting to look at the trends of porn now.
Yeah.
It was more natural.
Yeah. It was more natural.
More hair.
More. I mean, I remember being in, I think it was like 5th grade. We went to visit my uncle in a different state. And
of course.
He had his video collection and it was all it was alphabetized. There was like 60 DVDs, and then like right next to Forrest Gump, there was like Girls Gone Wild 1, 2, 7, and 9, and I was like, it's just out.
Yeah,
it's just out for everyone to see.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess
and it's alphabetized.
Gone Wild was like okay, like publicly accepted.
Yeah.
You could advertise it on TV, and your uncle from out of state could have it up while his family's.
Yeah. I just remember being like, oh, I see commercials for that. And those are the people they're advertising to. Okay, it's working.
That's a wild time.
Yeah.
That Girls Gone Wild era.
I mean, that's got to be so illegal now.
Because they were just kind of like lightly grooming intoxicated women.
Just drunk, plying them with alcohol and then being like, let me see your tits.
Yeah.
To an 18-year-old? That's insane.
Some of them, I remember watching one. This may have been when they were around a little bit. And one girl, I remember she stuck licking a lollipop and then stuck it up her cooch.
What?
And I was like,
that's what they're also showing on that video.
Yes. That's what I was like. I thought it was just like girls smushing tits together in bathing suit, maybe like light nipple.
Yeah.
But there were moments where it got more raunchier. But I just remember thinking, she's going to get a UTI.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
No, you're going to get a yeast infection at least. It's going to be sticky. You're going to attract ants. You can't be doing
carpet fuzz. Oh, God. Tobacco leaves. It's going to look like the bottom of a purse. That's so bad. But that was a fun era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, it was weird because now on the other side of it, I'm like, thank God I didn't go to that kind of school because wow, I would have been I would get blackout drunk.
Yeah.
And not know what I was doing, and I was already making out with girls.
Being cute. Yes. Yeah, and like this is fun and funny.
Yeah. And then just some 40-year-old creep is like, let me see your little titties.
I remember I went to spring break quite a bit in Florida, and there were always like, oh, those are the guys from Girls Gone Wild.
Wow.
Yeah. Because that was like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And you would just know they're around. But now I don't think they even do that anymore.
I mean, I should hope not. But also, isn't it like I feel like the Girls Gone Wild girl is a particular type of woman.
Yeah, it's not me.
No, it's not me. They're not knocking on my door.
No.
Hey, lift up your sports bra.
They were, yes. Take down your soccer shorts.
Your cargo pants look really heavy. Yeah, because they're full of all my tools.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, they're not coming over here.
No, they're not. They have a very particular, there's someone with a tongue ring that they need to go see. And I'm just like,
I wonder if they like lightly casted or had at least scoped out who was coming or like going on.
I mean, I feel like if they go to like Daytona Beach, they're going to be a lot of that type of woman. Or girl. I don't know if we call them girls or woman because they're 18 and that is
they're barely legal. It's skeptical. I remember we did when we went to spring break during high school. Mm-hmm. I don't know why my parents, they were very strict, but they let me do a spring break
in high school.
In senior year. So it wasn't, It could have been senior or junior, but we went to Florida. We went to hang out in Gainesville. And then I think we went to Daytona. And my friend who wasn't 18, she managed to get into a wet t-shirt contest.
Oh my God. That's child pornography.
It was, but nobody knew and you couldn't tell. But we thought it was so funny. But like they weren't carding really.
Wow.
Yeah. She was great.
How is she now?
She's great.
Yeah, great.
Still great. Kind of lightly keep in touch with her.
Yeah. Thriving.
So yeah, her life's not ruined or anything.
Oh yeah. No, I mean back in that time, no one had the cell phone where everything's going online and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so grateful for that.
Oh my God. I'm so glad my dumb years were not on tape.
Well, particularly because like, especially when I was drinking, I would think I'm being funny.
Yes.
And it wasn't.
Yes.
And it was probably mean and maybe,
offensive.
Yeah.
I remember just like, I wasn't like a mean girl, I would never do anything that I like would physically hurt someone else.
Exactly.
But I was like constantly joking and kidding around and trying to be hot.
Thinking that you're calling out like the thing in the room that everybody wants to talk about, but it's like nobody wants to talk about it. And that's actually quite rude what you did. Yeah.
You're being inconsiderate.
Yeah. You're body shaming.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, what's with your weird ears?
What? I'm just being funny. Yeah. It's like, that's the kind of thing, like hecklers at comedy clubs are like that. Mm-hmm. They're in that mindset of like, we were having fun. Like they don't get that this is not
the right time or
place. And that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was ruining everything.
I think that's so funny though.
No, I remember one time drinking I did the Laugh Stop and I was across the street from this bar in Houston and we would all go over there. Monday night was the big drinking night for all the local comics. And there was a shopping cart out. And so I got in it. And then my friend, also a comic, he's in Austin. We went in the elevator in the shopping cart. And then he drove me around the bar. And I found out the next day the doorman got fired. And I was like, because of letting us do that. And you're like, that's actually all my fault. And I owe him an amends. So if the doorman is listening to this, some Sherlock's, I am sorry to put you in an uncomfortable position.
He's like, I spent my whole retirement fund trying to find a new job. I am working at Walmart as a greeter now.
His life is ruined. But that's the kind of stuff that you think you're doing when you're drinking, that you think you're fun, and then you're just like ruining property.
Yes.
And
someone's job.
Yeah, people are getting fired.
Yeah.
Because you put them in like, they're like, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't say no to you.
Yeah.
You're very convincing.
Well, you just get away with a lot more when you're like 20, 21.
Yes, you do.
As a girl.
Oh my God.
How much help you get?
You do. I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm starting to become invisible. Isn't that fun? And
so funny when you start noticing it.
Yeah.
You're like, why are you helping her and not me? I remember asking the same question and I didn't get that response.
Yeah, exactly. If I had to go to the bars now, I think I would be very disappointed.
guess I wouldn't even attempt because it would be so hurtful.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I really gotta hope this comedy works out so people don't just kick me in the street.
Yeah, but it ends up being different. Like I remember there's an age where you're young enough to be in that group, so you're kind of feel slightly competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But then now I'm at an age where I'm like, I'm not even in that weight class. Like I can't compete. That now I find myself just complimenting young girls like on their skin, which is weirder. Where you're like, you don't have any pores.
Yeah.
Like because you want to wear it. What are you doing to have no pores? Yes. So now you're just like, you're nice, but you're just weird.
Yeah. You're weird, nice. Like maybe I should get a nose ring.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be that old
Is
woman.
it weird to start piercing at this age? But
totally.
It's nice not to be in that feeling of like competitive.
Yeah. No more competitiveness. It's like now trying to uplift. It's now like the enemy we realize with hindsight, it's not other women, it is men.
It is.
Are the enemy.
And you want to help young women.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to be like, don't just focus on your career.
Yeah.
Not this loser.
The amount of women I have told to freeze their eggs in the past month.
Yeah.
It's just like, just freeze your eggs. You need to focus on your career. Don't try and get married right now. Just freeze your eggs.
You can't control
and stay
that.
free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because guys only want to have kids maybe when they hit 40.
Yeah.
And your eggs are done.
Yeah.
That's why they want to date younger girls.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, that's fucked.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to do?
Exactly.
So yeah, freeze your eggs so you don't have to, because you can't control dating.
No.
You can kind of control your career.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have there's like a game plan. There are things you can do.
There's a checklist.
Yes.
But if you try really hard in relationships, it ends up going against you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing that's like it has to be the right person. And you can't control how you meet them.
You don't know when.
No.
And they could be the right person, but then they don't want to live in that city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, but I have to stay here because this is the only city that supports my industry.
Exactly.
Sorry, I made a burp up.
Yeah, burp away. Yeah. Speaking of, you are pregnant.
I am.
How are you feeling?
Good. I'm just getting acid reflux, and I get really bad symptoms that I feel like when I tell people this, they think I'm lying.
Oh no.
But you know or like you're precious.
Oh, okay. Well, like what?
Well, so now when I wake up in the morning, my hands feel like I've been doing this intense all night. So I have extreme joint pain right now. And I read up on it. It's the hormones in your body to get you to expand, get your joints all relaxed. It will cause joint pain and can also kind of lead to a slight carpal tunnel.
Jesus.
So that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, why is this happening? And then I Google and then it's all pregnancy.
Yeah.
Was one? The other one that I had in first trimester was slow. Any meal that I had, even if it was like a raisin, I would feel so uncomfortably full for like an hour or so. And it was because your metabolism slows down. And I think that's why you also get constipated in the first trimester. So you deal with these weird things that I feel like enough women get them, but not enough women to talk about it as if it's a thing.
Yeah.
So you have to Google everything to make sure that that's
women
normal.
Naturally don't talk about constipation to begin with.
But I do.
I mean, yeah, but we're comics. Nothing's off limit. I almost shit my pants this morning, and I was talking to Steve about reels or something like that, and I was like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah.
And he was like, why? And I was like, I'm gonna shit my pants.
I know. That's what I feel like when you're in a comfortable relationship, 90% of our conversation is how our BMs are doing today. You're like, made a solid one.
Yeah, exactly. I remember one time I was in the middle of freezing my eggs, and it makes you constipated.
It does, yeah.
And I didn't have a BM for like 2 days.
Yeah,
and
it's concerning.
Steve and I'm like, we have to go on a walk. We have to have coffee. We have to have red meat.
Yeah,
and so
smoking.
Yeah. Walking, and then we're eating at this burger place, and I look at him, I'm like, things are moving. I get up and I run to the bathroom, and then I come back and he's like, has the ship sailed?
Yeah,
like, it worked, honey, we did it.
Game has been changed.
Yeah. And then a week later he's like, remember when we had to do a bunch of stuff to make sure you could shit?
Yeah, well, that's what your pregnancy will be like, because you are constipated, and it is, I'm always like an advocate of like, well, it'll leave my body when it needs to leave my body. And so you're walking around New York, running around doing spots, and then in the middle of like a hang, all of a sudden you get that shooting pain.
Yeah.
That you'll be having a normal conversation and feel normal, and you're like this, ow. I gotta go. It's like a quick sharp pain in the nerve system up in your asshole that you're like, ugh. So yeah, it does leave your body, but it hits you hard and fast.
Yeah, and you better be able to waddle somewhere fast.
Well, because if you try, you're like, this is so painful. I have to be on stage in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought 15 minutes would be a great window.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's not.
It's never enough time.
Yeah. And then I was going to get more. And then it's like almost out. And you're like, wait, shit, it's not going to go all the way out. So now I got to put it back in again. Because I got to go on stage. So then you have a dirty little secret while you're telling your joke. You guys have no idea what's going on. It's so crazy.
You're just up there being like, things are weird. And then you're turtling the whole time.
I'll try again later. But yeah, it's all like horrific, and then you're like lightly by yourself in the, especially as a girl, because you're the only one on the lineup most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time it's just you, and men are like, when you're in your 30s, they kind of look over you.
Yeah.
Where's that hot chick from Australia? It's like,
I know,
oh,
you're
God.
like, can I just help you find her so we can move along this conversation?
Yeah, you can look at her while I commiserate with her.
Yeah.
And tell her to freeze her eggs and ignore your ass.
So she can gain some power back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't settle for some loser.
Honestly, after I froze my eggs, I was like, okay, because the symptoms mimic pregnancy.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so now the goal is not to make enough money to support a child. It is to make enough money to have someone else hold this child.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be pregnant. This seems awful.
It is bad. It is. I'm like, I don't know how people did this more than once.
Yeah.
Like I think I was texting with Rosebud yesterday, and we were just talking about like Ethel Kennedy did this for 20 years straight.
Oh my
Throughout
God.
her whole birthing, her woman years.
Oh God.
That's wild to me to be out. But I guess you know, if you don't have to work.
Yeah.
You can just stay at home.
I guess by like the
But how do
fourth
you
one,
hang
you're
out?
just like,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's just life at that
Heartburn
point.
again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's like, it's not painful. You're just like slightly uncomfortable all the time.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Until the last, I guess, push,
Oh,
from what I gather.
are you excited to give birth or are you terrified?
I usually put things off to the last minute. That I'm more of a day-to-day person.
Okay.
Meaning, like, it's so pointless for me to think about all of this stuff right now that I'm like, once it happens, it will happen.
Yeah. Why worry about it for the next 3 months when you can worry about it for 1 week?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a few hours. I know I don't know what the pain is like, but I can understand maybe a little bit of what the pain is like.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had an IUD put in?
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking it might be, but for a longer period of time.
It seems so. I mean,
It's
that
an
was
astute
painful.
cramp,
Yes.
but it's for not even 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like 10 seconds that you're like, oh my God. And then it's gone. So you're like, okay, that was fine. But
Yeah.
it makes you sweat.
I mean, I would take the drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't need to have that my person. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to be rude here. Like,
Go ahead.
sometimes I feel like the woman that naturally birth in the wild,
Yeah.
it's so they have a story.
Yeah.
I don't need a magical moment.
No.
Like, I just want a safe, easy birth. That's all I want.
Safe, easy birth. Why should you have to go through all that pain?
I don't need it to make it feel like it helps with loving the child more or whatever. Like, I just don't think it works that way. I'm very skeptical of that kind of mentality.
It seems like
it feels like something to just make yourself terminally unique at a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that you could hold over your children. Be like, do you know how much that hurt?
Yeah.
I feel like it would just make me bitter to the kid.
Yeah, and also insufferable to hang out with because anytime somebody has like a slightly less pain, you hijack it with your fucking stupid birth story. And you're like, well, you didn't have to do it like that, you maniac.
Yeah.
Like, they have epidurals.
Yeah, they have drugs. You didn't have to be in a pool in your living room. You could have been in a hospital.
Kid's pool.
Yeah.
It's like, how tacky is that?
Yeah.
I would rather go to one of those places that like Hasidic Jewish women go to. I forgot what it's called after they have their period.
Oh,
they
with
do
all
a
the hay.
bath.
Oh, they do a bath.
Yeah, they do a bath, and there's centers that you can go to. It's kind of like those, or it makes me think it's close to one of those like Turkish bathhouses are like.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Like if I was gonna do a water birth, I would want it at something like that, not get a kid's pool and fill it up with water in our apartment.
Yeah,
like
could you imagine being in our apartment building
with Ronan?
Ronan upstairs just reciting his jokes.
Oh my God, editing his special on full volume.
That's the first thing your baby hears.
Ronan! And then it imprints on him. I would be so livid if my child imprinted on Ronan. I don't know why. Ronan's he's really nice, but he's the most fun to shit on podcasts. I mean no harm by him, but
no, we love him to death.
Yeah.
To pieces. But he'll do a fair amount of shitting as well.
Oh, easily.
We all shit on each other.
Yeah. It's fair.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's the safest one to shit on. I don't know why.
Well, he's, a little disheveled.
Yeah, a little hectic.
A little hectic. The sky's always falling.
Asks questions. Hey, is it bad if it's like an ethical one and you're like, yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah. But.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no. There is no but. Yeah.
Can I date her friend if she's younger? Is that weird?
Yes. Oh God. I feel
Love
like
you, Ronan.
I love you, Ronan. His girlfriend Kate, I feel like I just want to be like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
This is the best we could do.
But he's doing great.
He's doing great. He's
a
thriving.
breadwinner.
Yeah.
It's fine.
He's a breadwinner. He's thriving. He's not going to listen to this. So
No.
It's okay.
Well, maybe. If
Maybe
you put
now.
a keyword search.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has a Google notification on his name.
I'll spell it wrong so we won't know.
We'll do 2 A's at the end.
Yeah.
Which it is. I always thought it was non-bread at the end.
Yeah.
It's
but
2
it's
A's in the front.
Ronan.
Ronan. I always just think of Ronan's sentences. That's how I pronounce
yeah.
his name.
When I opened for him for his first album taping, I was like, how do you want me to say your name? And he was like, you're one of my best friends.
But that
like, but it's how do you want me to say it? Yeah.
Well, sometimes you don't realize you've been saying someone's name really long because they haven't corrected you or wrong. I don't really correct people when they say my last name wrong.
How do people pronounce your last name wrong?
I get like Tollemache, Tollemache. It's kind of, they're all like the same.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's not worth it, and eventually you'll get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peluffo. Peluffo, Puffalo is something I've gotten a lot. And I'm like, wow.
Switch.
That was harder.
Yeah. No, I get it. Like that's, I remember having a hard time with Aparna Nansharala.
Nansharala?
Yeah. Having a hard time with her name, and that took a while. And then after you get it, you're like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Why did I add extra syllables in there?
I made it harder.
That's usually what ends up happening. People make, but I feel like you start when your name's like kind of complicated or not in the usual American last name. It puts you kind of in a weird hole from the beginning if you're correcting people.
Yes.
It's Tollemache.
Yeah. And everybody's just really mad.
Like you have to say it like that.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know any other way.
Yeah.
So I don't bother correcting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually people ask, especially the older white man
yes.
host will come up to me and be like, Caitlin, and I'm like Peluffo, but whatever you say is gonna be fine.
I will yes and anything. But I've had it where they focus so hard on the last name that they forget your first name. So I'll come out as a Susan sometimes. I think my favorite one, Nikki Glazer tweeted somebody had brought her up on stage as Vicky Seltzer. And I was like, that is the best stage name I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Vicky Seltzer.
I mean, she's bubbly.
Yeah, that's it. It's like a comic from the 80s.
Yeah. Vicky
name.
Seltzer.
Yeah. Yeah, she's wild. But yeah, like it's awkward in the comedy world because you do have to bring up a lot of people and you have to remember a lot of names.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Whenever it was the first person and I was hosting, I would just write it on a sheet of paper and have it in my back pocket just in case. Because you do 15 minutes where you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. Who are these people?
Yeah, you're a duck floating on your legs are,
you're
what's
just sweating.
Trying to remember shit, making sure everyone's happy. And then there's like another element, like if you're a white woman and you mispronounce like somebody that's a different race's name, you're like, oh my God, now I'm just like a racist.
I know, that's the worst. People are like, oh God. I remember, I think every Indian comic I've ever brought up, I'm so sorry. I just want to apologize. I respect you. I respect everything you do. But if your last name is not Singh, I struggle. I had a hard time. All right. And I didn't mean anything by it. I tried my hardest. And you know what? From now on, I'm going to do my best still.
I will try really hard.
I'm still going to try really hard.
Yeah.
But there was a 3-month period where I was like, was sweating.
Yeah. Like, just like when you eat the Indian food.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is tons of like weird, awkward moments. But like, I don't know. I think our names get butchered so much too.
Same.
People butcher names all the time, even the easiest names. Some of the hosts I've had in New York where you're like, that's not even close.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this, that they just start like panic at the very last minute. I'm like, all right.
Catlin Pelfo. What? Catlin Pelfo. Like, not even Catlin?
I still like Gary Veter just released his clip about it, but he had one where he opened for Rob Schneider.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's not now, but he did for a while. But like one of the first few times he got stoned, I think. I'm going to butcher the name. Go look at Gary Veter on Instagram. I think he just released it as a clip telling this on stage. He blanked. Have you ever just blanked?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before, even in a conversation or like hanging out with friends where you're like, I don't know why I've known this guy for 5 years and I can't remember his name right now. Where you're like, I have to leave the group.
Yeah.
So
I have to poop. I'm pregnant.
He was opening for Rob Schneider, had to introduce him. And then right when he introduced him, he forgot his name. He couldn't remember who he was opening for. And I was like, and he all of a sudden had a split second and he just thought, you know what I will do? He goes, are you guys ready? I want you on the count of 3, yell out who you're excited to see. And it was, they, of course, yell out Rob Schneider. And he was like, Rob Schneider, everybody. And I'm like, I wouldn't have had that.
Yeah.
It would have been 5 minutes of me talking.
Yeah.
And then while talking, trying to figure out context clues.
Literally.
Like, is there a headshot on the wall?
Looking at their shirts, being like, oh, what is that movie? Who started Tommy Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so like, I'm always impressed when somebody can pull that out at the last second.
That's smart. That's a good hack.
Yes. When in doubt, yell out their name. The other one too, I've heard this of like, if you forget someone's name, I think Ellen had this as a bit of like asking them how they spell it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like
Robin.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if it was a YN.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. I don't want to get it wrong. The Smith. Smythe? Smythe?
Where do I put the stress?
Well, Sarah, this has been very fun.
Always fun.
Always fun. Where can
Always
people
fun.
find you?
Well, you can find me. I'm on every platform under Tollemache, or what I really want you to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Yes, do that.
I think it's at Sarah T Comedy. You can find it now by whatever they call them, hashtags.
Oh, great.
I forgot what it's called.
You also have
That's
Lady
nice.
Journey.
I have Lady Journey podcast with Katie Hannigan.
Ugh.
And
love
you can
Katie.
see that connected to my Instagram account as well.
Beautiful.
Well,
Thank you so much. This was so
Thanks,
fun.
guys.
I love talking about
Fun.
poop with another lady.
No,
Very fun.
it's taboo in the comedy world, but it's very relatable
It's
material.
so relatable. Oh, you're just doing poop jokes? You don't understand. All right. I
This
got
one's
double
different.
poop.
And sometimes I'm like, this is about our healthcare system.
I'm making a pointed argument.
That happens to have the word diarrhea in it. So if you're not smart enough to get that,
Yeah, this is pro universal health care. It's political. All right. Well, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye.